Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we share with you all the latest updates from the stock markets, the buzzing action on D Street today. Where are the gains and the losses being seen, and amid that, what should be your investment strategy? We'll get you the expert views as well and all the news flows that are impacting some of the stocks so that you can keep a tab of if these stocks are in your portfolio. I've been thinking of, including these stocks in your portfolio as well. First up, a quick check on how the benchmarks, the Nifty and the Sensex are moving in trade. Remember, the last week we'd actually seen the markets really fall about 2.5% on the benchmarks, the Sensex and the Nifty. It was the worst weekly drop that we had seen on the benchmark indices after 8 consecutive weeks. And the markets definitely saw 17,500 being breached on the Nifty, 59,000 closing in on the Sensex as well. But right now, if you speak, there's been another week of a start on the lower wicket as well. 17,336 currently for the Nifty 50. It's down by 130 odd points, 0.7% of a decline. The Sensex also is hovering about 350 points lower in trade at 59,109. From the starting of the session today, it has been a volatile session, about 0.6% of a decline for this one as well. What is really spooking the sentiments on the D Street? Is it the global factors? Is it the domestic factors? Is it the Adani group factors or the other macro data indicators that are looking at that the markets are perhaps looking in anticipation of at this point in time? We'll get down to understanding that as well. But first up, a quick check also on the other factors in the market as well in terms of the broader market performance and the sectoral indices and the stocks that are buzzing in trade too. So when we talk about the broader markets today, they're in fact feeling a deeper heat. 1.5% gone for small cap index and also 1.4% of a cut for the mid cap 100 index as well. The India VIX is again up by 3 odd percent at 14.5. So keep an eye out on that level. The market breadth skewed towards the declines. 39 stocks in the red versus 11 stocks that are in the green right now. In terms of the stocks that are feeling the pressure, Adani Enterprises, the top loser on the Nifty index, 7.5 points gone there and 7.5% for that one low on the lower side, 1218 as the current level. So that's seen a sharp cut today. Bajaj Auto, there have been news flows of production cut happening. So that stock is under pressure, 5 odd percent of a decline for that one. UPL is down in trade, Tata Steel and also some of the other stocks flashing on your screens like Eicher Motors, Hindalco, the other losers in the pack. So some of those metal names are actually dragging today. On the other side, which are the stocks that are still holding up despite this overall subdued sentiment that you're witnessing on the street? The banks are supporting somehow. ICICI Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank up by 1 odd percent, SBI up by almost 1%, HDFC. So these big financial names are still holding up in the green. Adani Ports, however, has seen a slight bounce, about 0.7% of an uptick for that one. But that is perhaps the only lone Adani counter that is up in the green today. 9 of the 10 stocks that are listed on the stock exchanges are actually down in the red. In terms of the sectors, you have the Nifty Bank that's up. The constituents, financial service, PSU banks, private banks, all up by almost half odd percent. Realty pack has slightly gained in trade today, but rest all of the sectors are down, with the pressure being felt deeply on auto stocks. That's down by 2%, IT stocks down by 2%, media stocks down by 3.6%, metals are cracking today, 3.3% also down, FMCG down by 1.3% odd as well. Let's welcome our guest at this point in time to understand what he makes of the kind of move that we are seeing on the markets. Kranthi Bathini joins in, Director Research at WealthMils Securities. Welcome, Mr. Bathini, for taking the time out, and thank you so much for being with us on Business Today TV. Your thoughts on how the markets are panning out? Like I pointed out, last week was the worst drop, about 2.5% on Sensex and Nifty after 8 weeks, which have been continuously volatile. The markets look to be in that consolidating range right now. When will the markets really come out of this bear trap, and what will it take for the markets to be up?
Yes, actually, you rightly said the markets are trending at a very weak note, and this consolidation and corrective phase is getting continued in the market.
Yeah.
When is the bottom? Okay, the bottom, technically speaking, market should find a bottom around 17,250 levels. But we need to look forward for what is the initial commentary that's coming from Fed and also the global cues, which are extremely important. Dow future also extremely important to determine the direction for the market going ahead. Right now, what we can see, the good news for the economy seems to be a bad news for the markets. USC's the data, there are some positive data are coming from US and all around the world with respect to the growth, but these kind of positive data is creating pressure on the markets, because Fed is going to go on big guns in terms of raising interest rate hike, and that's going to create some kind of liquidity pressure going ahead, where the market is forcing going ahead. This is the overhang on the market right now. So that extra pressure is getting created on the markets in India, because we don't have that much major triggers right now taking the market to give a positive booster stroke for the markets in India.
Absolutely. But let's actually come down to understanding what's really happening in the Adani Group stocks. Another week has started off on a lower note for most of these stocks. 9 of the 10 stocks in red today. In fact, the sell-off has deepened with the group's total market cap now around 7.15 lakh crore rupees. That's down almost 63, 65 odd percent from the market cap that the group really had of about 19.2 lakh crores as on January 24th, right before the Hindenburg research report came in. So there's a 63% slash that we have seen, especially for Adani Enterprises that has wiped off 2.5 lakh crore rupees of market cap. Adani total gas has eroded 3.5 lakh crores in market value since late January. Adani Transmission, Adani Green Energy, both of them have lost about 2.3 lakh crore rupees as well. Among the other stocks, Adani Power, Ports and Ambuja Cements have somewhere lost about 30,000 odd crore rupees to 51,000 odd crore rupees in this period as well. And all the Adani 10 group stocks have actually faced a massive decline in these last in this last 1 month or slightly more than a 1 month that we have seen. Your thoughts on what should investors be doing? We've been continuously revisiting this question with all the developments that have been happening. Again, today there are news developments on the Adani Group looking to raise further debt on some of the coal-based power plants as well. So developments are continuously happening, but we're not getting any clarity from the management. The management is not really coming out to calm the nerves of the investors, and the stocks are continuously feeling the heat. What should be investors' approach?
Sakshi, first of all, as we all know, there is a wealth erosion of nearly 12 lakhs crores with respect to the Adani Group is concerned. As you know, markets are currently trading at a weak note. Whenever the markets are in a corrective phase and markets are trading at a weak note, the first and foremost stocks which get impacted in the market is stocks which have risen a lot, and stocks which are exposed to kinds of reports like the bombshell that fallen on Adani Group shares in the form of Hindenburg report, and that's creating extra that created the extra pressure right now. Since the market is in a weak note, the stocks which have highly rallied in last few years, they are getting impacted, and Adani Group is the one of the group stocks which rallied in last 1-2 years time. So the pressure obviously will be high with respect to the stocks are concerned. So what should investors need to do? Whenever if the investors don't like these kind of volatility and the news flows that are hampering the entire investor sentiment, if they are on profits and if there is an uptick that comes on a positive day, better to book profit and exit out of those counters, at least take back the capital. And what we witnessed is, for example, the stocks like Adani Enterprises. Okay, the stock fortnight it touched a low of 1017. It formed a base, and the stock rallied towards 1900 and 2000 levels. So a person who witnessed a 100% rally or 50% rally within that short span, they should have booked profit at that higher range. So, and since there is a negativity right now, the overall market is trading at a negative sentiment. Obviously, the group is getting impacted more right now.
Absolutely. But would you at all say that for investors with a high risk appetite still looking and very interested in this kind of mouth-watering valuations that some of these stocks may be looking at as of now? Adani Enterprises, for example, is now down back again at 1200 odd levels. You talked about 1017 as the base. So it's inching closer to that levels. And looking at just the recent past history that the stock had bounced back very sharply, and you can continue to get that 50% or 100% upside in a short duration in case a positive development happens. So that's the psychology with which a lot of investors may be looking at some of these Adani Group stocks. Is it wise enough to look at some of these stocks, or still will it be like a catching falling knife?
It's definitely catching falling knife, Sakshi. We need to see how the momentum is building up, and the rise in the stock prices is supported by any kind of fundamental news that management is giving. These are the things one need to take into cognizance. And at the same point of time, if there is a rally that's coming into the stocks again, like what we were witnessed in Adani Enterprises, people should not wait for the stocks to hit previous highs again. Okay, one should be very much attentive when trading in these kind of stocks at these market conditions.
Okay, understood that. Let's move on. Some of the other very interesting pockets are also showing up some buzzing move today. Let's talk about Paytm first. Paytm, the stock has been buzzing in action today. It was up 3% odd in the morning trade. Even now, I think it's up about 2.5% odd right here. Of course, there are news flows that are buzzing in. Some reports suggesting that block deals may be taking place. And also, on the other hand, the telecom tycoon Sunil Mittal's firm may be looking to take a stake in the fintech firm as well. Reports suggest that China's Ant Group and Japan's SoftBank Group would have discussed some selling of the stake in Paytm as well through block deals. And on the other hand, this news flow of Bharti Airtel looking to pick up a stake. There has been a choppiness in the morning trade that we've seen in 197 communications, but these news flows have definitely had some kind of a knee-jerk move. So one is a negative, one is a positive, but how do investors really look at this news flow, if at all? Because these news reports haven't been confirmed yet from either of the parties right now. How should investors be looking at Paytm? Because after the earnings, I remember speaking to you and the other analysts as well, they were quite confident of Paytm at least being in the right direction of looking at increasing its profitability itself. So your thoughts right here?
Definitely, Sakshi, the investors who already invested in this stock, they can hold on to their position. In fact, any dip that market offers in these weak markets, one can accumulate this stock further, because the one positive thing that the development that happened in Paytm is they are cleaning up their balance sheets and bringing the increasing the productivity, and also they are moving towards the profitability of the company. Okay, that gives a very positive outlook for the company, and the stock has corrected a lot from its IPO
Sure.
price. That gives a base for the investors going ahead in Paytm. And the positive news is the company is turning towards the profitability, which very few companies in this space are looking for the profitability in the near future. So they have been giving some kind of visibility with respect to their earnings are concerned. So that gives the Paytm a positive outlook going ahead.
Sure, sure, absolutely. One more stock that's been buzzing right now, and there's been sudden news flow that is impacting this stock as well. And this stock is from the aviation basket. I'm talking about SpiceJet. Now, remember last week we already saw the earnings of SpiceJet looking quite promising, reporting a multifold rise in the net profit, 107 crores in the 3 months ended December. And the revenues also rose by about 4% at 2794 odd crore rupees. So this was a positive that led to some bounce last week as well on the SpiceJet numbers as well. The EBITDA also turned positive at $5.9 billion as well. So looking at the demand picking up in the festive season and the travel season really picking up space as well. Today, the stock is up 3.5%, and you can see that sudden jump that has come in right before we opened the show. You can see that spike that has come in, and some of the news flows have suggested that Carlyle Aviation is about to pick up a 7.5% stake in the company. Remember, these are Newswire reports. We have not confirmed them individually on business today, but this perhaps news is the one that has really led to this spike in the stock today, 3.5% up. The news flow suggests that Carlyle deal could actually help SpiceJet wipe out $100 million of debt of the company, and Carlyle deal really values the cargo unit at $1.5 billion. Also, that the Carlyle deal could actually help SpiceJet really reduce its debt, like I've also pointed out earlier. So what could this news flow really mean for SpiceJet, Mr. Bathini? And should one really look at a fresh with this news development on SpiceJet? 41 rupees currently, up by 3.5%.
Yeah, the stock has underperformed in past 1.5 year, Sakshi, despite of good news that's coming in travel and tourism industry. But SpiceJet was on a losing feet in the aviation listed space is concerned. With the kind of news that's coming right now and also the positivity they have shown in Q3, if they could able to continue the same kind of earnings momentum going ahead, definitely investors with a high risk appetite at the given the kind of valuations at 41 rupees at this point of time, and any dip in the stock, if the company could able to continue the same kind of momentum earnings, definitely one can look at this price as a very good entry point for SpiceJet is concerned. And for the existing investors, they can remain invested as the macro environment is turning positive for companies like SpiceJet.
Okay, understood that. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Bathini, for being with us on the show and discussing with us various pockets that are passing in trade. The market's still hovering lower today, 59,081 for the Sensex. It's down by 380 odd points. The Nifty also hovering at 17,328, lower by about 137 odd points. We'll continue to keep an eye out on the markets. They're still down by about 0.6, 0.7% odd in trade. So still the market bred towards the declines. What will it really take for the markets to see some kind of a bounce? Will it be the GDP data due tomorrow? We will be discussing, what can you really expect from the GDP data this time around as well. So do stay tuned on to Business Today TV in the evening for that as well. And going forward, can the macro data and the global news impact the market movement going forward from here? And by when can you really expect a bounce back? And where exactly will you be making profits? All of those, conversations will continue on Business Today TV. So what should you do? You should stick with us on this platform. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and also you can continue to engage with us via other social media platforms. We are present on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and also Instagram. Many thanks for tuning in for now.
The Reserve Bank of India is conducting trials of the central